You know, there are a lot of outrages that people can stomach. But in the EU, in the UK, and in Scotland, the governments there have done everything they can to make sure that their citizens are unsafe, can be murdered, can be sexually assaulted, and in return, all in the name of protecting illegal aliens, immigrants from Muslim countries. They have allowed an enormous infestation into the country that has so affected the people there that revolution seems like a real possibility in the UK. Now, by now, this has been making the rounds, but here there's a little girl here, 14-year-old girl who's carrying knives now, which of course is is against the law because of how many illegal aliens were slashing people in the name of Allah Akbar. This girl is brandishing a knife to purportedly scare away immigrants who are stalking her.
Yes, you have a knife.
You don't. Hey, fucking help me. You're fucking batting kids.
Why are you fucking with us?
You're fucking kid bashers.
Show the knife. Show the knife.
Get
Show the knife.
fuck away from us.
Show the knife. Show the knife.
Don't touch her.
That's it. That's it. Show the knife.
Don't touch my little sister.
Show the knife. That's it.
Don't fucking touch my little sister. She ain't fucking 12.
So they're stalking this little girl. Won't leave her alone. She carries weapons to protect herself. And do you know what they've done to this little girl? They've arrested her.
Don't touch her. Don't touch her. The
14-year-old girl. They have arrested her. She's been charged for brandishing a knife. Cops were called, so instead of going after the people harassing the girl, they, of course, arrest the girl. Because she was in possession of a bladed weapon. A number of police vehicles were spotted at the Balgay Street on car park as officers launched an investigation. Police Scotland confirmed a 14-year-old girl, or youth, has been charged in connection with the alleged incident. A spokesperson for the force said around 7:40 p.m. on Saturday, we received a report of a female youth with a bladed weapon at St. Anne Lane who was being stalked. I added that last part. Officers attended. A 14-year-old girl was charged in connection. She will be reported to the relevant authorities. And here's the thing. Crime is dramatically up because these third worlders have no respect for human sanctity. They have no respect for Western sensibilities. They are a darkness spreading across the UK, Scotland, the EU, everywhere. Borderless Britain, Breitbart writes, foreign national sex convictions surged by more than 60% over the past 4 years. But nobody seems to know why that's happening. Sexual offences committed by migrants in Britain has been rising at a faster pace than the number committed by British citizens, with migrant sex crimes increasing by over 60% over the past 4 years. According to figures from the Ministry of Justice, the laughably named now, based on data from the Police National Computer, these so-called migrants accounted for 14.1% of sexual offense and rape convictions in 2024, or around 1 in 7 of all convictions. This according to the Daily Telegraph. While this broadly falls in line with the percentage of foreign-born residents living in the country, the data found that sex crimes by migrants are rising at a significantly higher rate because they are bringing in animals, particularly among certain groups. I wonder what group that could possibly be. And they're growing at a much higher rate than those committed by British nationals, some of whom have been born abroad and later obtained UK citizenship. The data found that between the lockdown year of 2021 and 2024, convictions of sex offences by foreign nationals rose by 687 to 1,114. This was compared to 39.3 rise among British citizens during the same time period, increasing from 4,400 to 6,100. The disparity became even more stark when narrowing down on certain nationalities, with the broadsheet noting that the 7 groups most likely to illegally cross the English Channel, the Afghans, the Iranians, the Iraqis, Sudanese, etc., saw a collective 110% rise in sex crimes convicted since 2021. And just think, if the government had done their job, none of those sex crimes would have occurred. Every single one of those girls that have been either killed or sexually assaulted or raped would still be alive and happy and well today, except for the incompetent British government. Now, in terms of raw numbers of convictions last year, Indians ranked the highest with 100, followed by Romanians, then Poles, and then Pakistanis, and Afghanistans, and etc. This, however, does not include convictions of those belonging to such ethnicities who either became UK citizens or who were born into the country to migrated parents, meaning son of immigrants. The opaqueness of the data has led to calls for the full publication of crimes broken down by nationality and migration status, which the government said earlier in 2025 it will finally provide by the end of the year. Meaning, these governments, very similar to what Germany has done, where they started, as soon as you got citizenship there, let's say you were from Iran, they simply rebranded you as German so that the crime data wouldn't show the mass increase in crime. And the UK has been doing the same thing. They've been hiding the data because they're importing their own death. The Keir Starmers of the world are the party of suicide. They are destroying their country with purpose, with full knowledge of what they are doing, which then begs the question of why. What could be the ultimate goal, knowing that you're destroying your own country? Now, the figures were obtained by the Freedom of Information request by the Center for Migration Control. The research director for the think tank, Robert Bates, argued that the data, and specifically the apparent disparity in propensity among certain migrant groups to commit sex offenses, should inform government policy on which nationalities should be allowed to immigrate to Britain. But see, in the era of DEI, in the era of woke, in the era of we can't possibly see what's happening right in front of our eyes, it is unconscionable that certain nationalities and races should have, higher crime averages. Why? That's impossible. We're all the same. And while our DNA may be similar, the cultures are not. This is why, when you have bad neighborhoods, they tend to breed more crime because of the environment. Now, Bates said that it is unconscionable for the government to continue with business as usual when this data shows that action, such as the introduction of the red list, is now urgently needed. Meanwhile, Reform leader Nigel Farage added that this country has a serious and growing crime problem with its own people, which makes importing foreign-born criminals all the more stupid. Foreign sex offenders are becoming one of the most important political issues in Britain, and these figures will infuriate the public. They just need to deport them all. They need to take a page from Donald Trump, and they need to start mass deportation. But of course, the government is arresting anyone that stands in the way of mass illegal immigration. Now, the pressure from protests, often led by local mothers and other women concerned for their safety and the safety of their children, led to a successful High Court challenge to shut down the Migrant Hotel in Epping, which is only a small bandage on a growing wound. The Bell Hotel in the Essex town became the epicenter for the anti-mass immigration movement last month after it was confirmed that an illegal from Ethiopia assaulted a 14-year-old girl from the town. The local council successfully argued before the court that the presence of supposed asylum seekers, God, you got to love their rebranding of what these people are. No, they're criminal illegals who broke into your country, but they're asylum seekers. These people are coming from countries that are nowhere on the border of Great Britain. Asylum seekers, my ass. And they accuse the asylum seekers of using the hotel as a feeding ground for unrest. The government, facing potentially dozens of further challenges and threatening the entire system that houses over 30,000 illegal aliens in hotels, has launched an appeal and has begun contacting landlords to potentially spread the migrants further afield throughout the country in privately owned residences instead of just kicking them the hell out. So, we're going to have to see what happens here, but the UK is essentially fallen at this point. I don't know if they're going to be able to turn this around. The British citizens are going to have to be extremely aggressive at forcing their government to change before it's too late. But you're already at the midnight hour now because they are arresting people for thought crimes, for posting their thoughts on the internet. Britain has become a dark and terrible place. The British citizens themselves are good people, but their light is being stamped out with brutal efficiency. So we will see if they can come back from this. And I hope they do. I really do. Nothing would be more tragic than one of the great beacons of democracy over the last century could be stamped out by people like this retard here. So we'll see.